Welcome to Block Talk Stream. As always, I'm Crypto Nikolai, joined here with my partner in crime, Crypto J.
How about that friggin' intro, though,
I know.
What was that madness?
Man, I don't know who made that, but they certainly need big props to Crypto J for putting that together, as well as for doing some good work on branding. You can see our new Block Talk logo featured here on the stream. And we're always looking to expand that. So next week, look for transitions, frames. Really to kind of professionalize the output of what we're looking at.
Yep, absolutely. We're looking at making just small little tweaks and changes here just to keep things fresh and exciting.
Yeah.
Especially we especially want to focus on bringing better quality stuff to you guys, keep you guys interested, because I know we can tend to drone on and on. We'll gloss over that. But yeah, that's just something that we kind of tossed together last night, and it's kind of what we landed with. So let us know what you guys think of it, because I know I like it.
Yeah, we're definitely moving in different areas, trying to get the brand updated. And we can't say enough how excited we are to get all this rolled out. So keep an eye for more updates, just like the one you saw.
Absolutely.
On a somber note, we do want to turn and just as general Twitch streamers, I feel like our community was affected this week.
Absolutely. 2 days ago, some of you may know, some may not know, there was a fatal shooting at the Madden tournament down in Jacksonville, Florida. Several people were hurt, but unfortunately, two Twitch streamers did lose their lives to a scumbag who, just couldn't keep his shit together.
Yeah.
So as fellow streamers and fellow gamers as well, I kind of feel like it's our duty to sort of draw the community closer together and send out our condolences to the families of those affected. Keep an eye at the end of the stream. We got something special that we'd like to share with everybody.
Just a little tribute, and at the end of the day, we're all in this together, streamers and just trying to get a message out there. And these guys were, covering a great, Madden tournament that was going on.
Yeah.
A lot of people playing, the scene very active, but unfortunately there was just one individual who,
one bad apple,
who kind of ruined it for everyone in attendance there. So, but yeah, keep an eye out at the end of the stream for that.
Absolutely.
So on a lighter note, we did manage to transition into looking at the weekly.
All that green.
Yeah.
Son.
So this is a week to week analysis, and so looking at it, we see Bitcoin up above 7K.
Beautiful.
And holding above 7K. So big movements there. Ether scraping up against really 300 price level. That's what we like to see. We like to see, kind of the prices stay, once they go up, rather than people just immediately shorting.
Yeah. I mean, it's been quite a while since we've seen prices like this. I'm happy about it. I know you're happy about it. And I know everybody else is probably happy about it, except the BitMEX shorters.
Right.
But I was super thrilled to see such a large amount of movement over the last few days, and a lot of profits being taken there.
Yeah.
I know I'm certainly excited about.
Yeah. So do you think that these gains are going to hold, or are we all need to be shorting?
Okay. Here's the way I look at it. What we're seeing right now, yes, it is a great time to be trading. Everything, as we can see on Coin360, is just steady, chugging along. Great stuff. But, as you said, or like you asked, is it sustainable? And that I don't know. Because these gains have been stretched across, several days. And, I'm starting to get to the point to where I'm getting concerned about it being overbought.
Yeah. Well, there are some major pumps. Even within the overall green market, we have a couple coins that have done quite well. I'm thinking mostly of Icon, ICX.
Yeah.
We had back-to-back 15 to 20% gains. So if we get the
IOTA.
yep, we had big news from them. ICX in 7-day change at 47.6% gain, just a casual 50% gain,
Yeah.
and then of course, as you mentioned, um, we have IOTA going on.
I'm pretty sure my phone's about to explode.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that. Okay.
Looking at IOTA, a
Sorry about
43%
that.
gain over the same period.
Yeah.
So huge gains in alts. And so what does this mean for you? We're seeing the overall Bitcoin, Ether, the big coins moving up, and what that does is it allows you to kind of venture out into alts, try to scoop up some gains, and then get back into your coin of choice because that puppy is moving up.
Look at that Brave browser.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Saving 36 minutes of your life across
Bro, I'm gonna
several months.
I'm gonna show you this stat right here. Look at this.
Look, yeah, man.
37 minutes saved time. I mean, that's a lot of time for activities right there.
You could squeeze in a Taibo lesson in there somewhere. Maybe some knitting, needlepoint. I don't know.
Exactly. 37 minutes. Like you said, a lot of time. So overall, we see pretty good gains across the board, and I think we're headed in the right direction. Honestly, these are gains sort of in spite of ETF decision.
Yeah, which is great.
And so that shows kind of the resilience of the market. People are saying whatever. Forbes did down. Normally we don't care too much about specific price predictions. Forbes did list its analysis to say that Bitcoin will not hit 10,000. But then again, there are plenty of Bitcoin bulls out there who are saying, 10,000 is just chump change. We're headed to 30.
30 might be a bit of a stretch, but if for some reason these gains can sustain, then we're well on our way.
Yeah, exactly.
30K by the end of 2018, following these trends is definitely doable.
Yep. So getting back to kind of the charting a little bit, we saw the ICX Bitcoin trading chart. These are 1 hour candles. This will give you kind of a nice few days here to analyze, and ultimately very solid 3 days here. But really, kind of looking back on the 26th, that's when we had the big gains.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
A 400 sat gain on an 1,000 sat coin.
That's a lot.
Straight into 94 cents.
Mm-hmm.
So these are going to be some nice alts to look at. We are just moving today.
I should have bought back into Bitcoin earlier, man.
Yep.
Kind of angry that I didn't, but
look at this EOS pump right here.
Let's zoom out a bit, see what's going on in the nitty gritty here.
All right, so we do see our Bollinger Bands and our MACD analysis showing a monstrous gain right here. Very sustainable. 575 from about 540, so about 30 cents.
Yeah, a lot of volume dumping into those candles as well.
Yeah, we're talking about $83 million of daily volume. So EOS definitely picking up. In fact, looking at the USD chart, EOS is actually the number 3 position, just barely behind an uptick in volume on Ether up to $90 million, and then of course Bitcoin at $346 million in daily
People are
volume.
Buying. People are eating it up.
One thing,
and I don't blame them though, man. I wouldn't want to miss out on these gains either.
Yeah, no, it's called FOMO and it is real. But the reality is that if this is the beginning of the bull market, you're good to go in. You just don't want to buy really at the 24-hour high. We're a little bit under the 24-hour high here, so you really just don't want to be pushing that.
Right.
So anyway, overall, good indications. The bear market might be at an end. So we'll keep you posted on that. Especially this Thursday, we'll be looking more specifically at some price tools, some price analysis, and we'll be walking you through, this FOMO. What's happening. When do people get in? Because really, think about this. All the people who bought this peak right here.
Yeah, despite a little bit of a dip, at the end of the day, they're still up.
Oh yeah, big ups.
Little swings there.
So I did want to take a moment and talk a little bit about our social media outreach.
Yes.
So what's been going on in the Twitterverse?
The Twitterverse steadily growing. But a lot of people take Twitter a little too seriously, and if you don't post anything on one day out of the week, they're like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna unfollow you because you don't tweet." Duh, duh, duh. Whatever. I don't care about those people. But yeah, we try to keep it as updated as much as possible. The last couple days have been a little lax on that because we've been working on other stuff, trying to develop the stream itself. So thanks for the 85 of you that stuck through that. We'll be getting back into that the Twitter side of things rather soon. And on Minds, the Ethereum blockchain social media platform, things have been blowing up there, as you can see. Usually at the end of every day, I'm sitting at about 600 different notifications. We get subscribers every day. People are viewing it every day.
How about that quality picture right here?
Yeah, Ripple believes its cryptocurrency is more decentralized than Bitcoin. What kind of crack cocaine is Ripple Labs smoking? Like, that's what I want to know. If they really think that they are more or they're less centralized than Bitcoin, I have got some news for them. Um, that's definitely not the case, considering Ripple is primarily used by companies that transfer funds. So if you're basically catering to big banks and stuff like that, you're pretty centralized. Now, the argument could be made that Bitcoin is centralized as well.
Yeah.
Especially in sort of like an oligarchic sense where, the rich and powerful, the few rich and powerful control the entire market. Like we said on our last stream, how the majority of the Bitcoin in circulation are being held in, what is it, like 60 something off exchange wallets?
Yeah, so that was Bitcoin Cash, and that was
Okay.
about it was about 57 or 60% of the funds were held in a very like 60 wallets.
Yeah.
So it was highly centralized. But thanks for the follow. We do appreciate
Oh,
that.
always.
Um, but what they're basically saying is because the mining power is not concentrated and it's decentralized and peer to peer, that's why XRP is more centralized.
Yeah.
But if you look at the distribution, by wallets, whereas Bitcoin and Ether are far more decentralized in that sense than Bitcoin Cash that we mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
Ripple does have that kind of, huge amount of Ripple that's kind of just under the control of the of the excerpt of the Ripple folks,
Yeah.
and so that's part of the reason, as we see here, that Coinbase didn't actually want Ripple as a coin on there.
I wouldn't either. The problem I have with Ripple is I believe I made the joke the other day that I think the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro is on the board at Ripple because they've been known to just randomly print XRP in order to sort of like pad the price a little bit. But as we've seen since last year, earlier this year, where Ripple was originally at $3 and it's just tumbled all the way down to 30 cents.
Yeah.
I mean, does that not scream hyperinflation to you?
Yes and no. Definitely there's something to be said for the fact that the price did take a huge dump, but so did the price on everything. So you can't really point to that one factor. Number two, one of the lawsuits that was against Ripple was actually that accusing them of being in this never-ending ICO state.
Right. Yeah.
Where they were basically, and this was a lawsuit that there was, which was getting started, basically, and accusing Ripple of just being in this never-ending ICO status, to where they wouldn't be, they were just accepting money and not really putting in product. They were just kind of treading water.
Yep.
But that lawsuit was ultimately considered and rejected by the judge on the case. So between that and some of the other positive news coming out of Ripple, we actually see a pretty big turnaround. And One other point that I wanted to bring up here about the decentralization factor. Um, Basically, the argument here is it's decentralized because the mining power is decentralized.
Yeah.
But we have covered on previous streams how Ether is actually transitioning into a proof of stake coin.
With Casper. Yep.
Exactly, with the Casper release. So what that's going to do is, in my sense, in my mind, it's going to decentralize things a bit more for Ether. The mining pools really will contribute a lot less towards the network, whereas now it's going to come down to stakers, and you really only need that magic. I want to say 36 or 32.
No, it was lowered. It's 16 now, I believe.
Is it?
Yep.
Well, that's fine. Let's double check that real quick.
Let's try to find something relatively current.
Yeah. So it was 32 back in.
So, okay, that was 2017. Never mind.
So as of August 23rd, it's the 32 Ether Club.
Okay.
Current cost for minimum non-pool staking shares about 8,800.
It's not too bad.
Possible staking rewards here, just as just projections.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. It's definitely possible. We don't have the numbers just yet as to like in the date specifically when this is going to be rolled out. Obviously, this is a huge transition, but 32 Ether is one of those things where there are some investors out there who would say, I'm in it. Let's get in it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So,
hey, if I had that kind of capital, I'd jump in that as well, considering how much I like Ethereum.
Yeah. So again, kind of getting back to it, we were discussing this article which was shared on the Minds platform here.
Yeah.
And we say all the lulls, kind of inviting some discussion. Now, if you do have any questions or want to get started on Minds, just minds.com, and you can find us
super easy
at Blog Talk, and you can get us. Now, we are involved in several groups, are we not?
Several, probably closer to about 100 or so. You click over to my groups, that'll show you all of the groups that we're in.
Yeah, well, see, I'm on my own account here,
okay.
Don't know that will do much of anything.
No. But yeah, I want to say...
not in any groups at the moment, so...
Probably in about 100 and some change. So a decent bit. And all these groups are also, they're growing steadily, over the coming days. And I mean, last time I looked at the Bitcoin group, it had just over 8,000 members, and now they're almost at 9,000.
Yeah, so what you can do on Minds is join these groups, right? So I just joined the Ethereum and the Bitcoin groups, you can see kind of there's some fun, interesting, there's even InfoWars if you're a fan of that.
Because, the water makes the frogs gay and everything.
Yep, Joe Rogan's podcast is circulating around here. Very, very anti-censorship here on mine. So, conspiracy, you can jump in there.
Keep in mind that some of these groups on here, we don't necessarily share opinions or beliefs with.
Yes.
But, in the spirit of anti-censorship and freedom of speech, they do have a right to exercise that right.
Yep.
Just as we do. So.
Well, we're advocates of open information. So
absolutely.
If I have the right to open information, well, so do you.
Indeed.
All right. So moving on, there was a big shift in the narrative around the Bitcoin Cash.
Oh, yeah.
We did mention them before, and so basically what we have with Bitcoin Cash is a idea that there might have to be a fork due to a disagreement within the community.
Yeah.
And
there's sort of like a three-way split within the ranks at Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah. So basically, there's the SV team versus ABC team. Now we talked a little bit about potential fork. Fork is a major undertaking for a coin. It is basically a software release that completely separates. It basically is completely incompatible with the old version on the chain. So you can't use the forked whatever it is. If we're talking about Bitcoin Cash here, you can't use the updated fork stuff on the old chain.
Correct.
It just won't work. So the two groups are very opinionated about this.
Right.
So the Bitcoin ABC group, as they're known, basically it's the kind of child of the current team that's there. They wanted to add in smart contracts and atomic swaps. Now atomic swaps are where you can actually trade coins across blockchains for instantaneous switching, and this is done peer to peer, decentralized, as opposed to moving your coins to an exchange.
Right, going the traditional
as
route.
we've kind of detailed here. When you're on Binance, this is an exchange. You're sending your coins to them, you're milling them around. Even on something decentralized like IDEX, like where we have an Ethereum DApp that's basically set up that way. Um, you know, Even here, you're uploading your wallet information, then you're sending your coins to the exchange to trade. I mean, there's an extra step there, but essentially, hot.
Pumping.
Hot is hot, baby. Um. Anyway, so, whoo,
I'm feeling hot.
it's time to get in some alts, baby. I mean,
Has alt
Jesus.
season finally arrived?
It has, and it's time to open up your wallets and say, let's dump.
Just shut up and take my money.
Dump it in some alts, because right now we're seeing some actually monstrous gains, and what that means is that people are finally willing to say, you know what, I'm not in a holding pattern with my my Bitcoin, my Bitcoin, my Ether. I'm not just going to hold it. I'm gonna move it in the market. I'm not worried about it losing value. So if I'm not worried about it losing value, I can actually trade into an alt, and then that opens up opportunities. So for example, like looking at an alt, EOS, not really. I mean, it's a top 5 coin, top 6. Hold on.
So it's up there.
Wait. Top 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so whether you're using centralized, decentralized, you're still doing an exchange. Now, Bitcoin Cash wants to be the payment processor, right? That's their goal. That's what they want to be doing. So with Bitcoin Cash, they are saying, okay, with this new software update, ABC, which they've already released an update, which kind of triggered this whole back and forth.
Right.
They want to continue that route of doing peer-to-peer atomic swaps. Now they also want to continue to work on what's called a zero confirmation transaction. So if you've made a transaction before, it can be frustrating to wait for those confirmations.
Yeah, especially on big hefty blockchains like Bitcoin. Bitcoin Cash not so much. It tends to be a little bit faster, a little bit cheaper. But sometimes those transactions can be pretty sluggish, and it can be pretty frustrating, especially if you're in a sort of transactional scenario where you're providing crypto in exchange for goods and services. Having to wait for those confirmations can be pretty annoying.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting some FOMO in right here. Look at this. Look at these orders. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, there's some juicy orders in there.
Yeah. Now he moved his buyer. He didn't get that clear. So the 100+ Ether. Buying 8 million hot.
Somebody's got some deep pockets.
8 million hot. That's not bad. All right. So anyway, kind of getting back to it. Now, what about the other camp? Like, what's the different tack that's going on in the Bitcoin Cash kind of debate? Well, that's the Bitcoin Cash SV. Now, this is led by a guy named Craig Ryder. We actually brought him up in a previous stream.
Yeah.
We talked about how Vitalik Buterin, was at a conference, called him a fraud on the mic.
Yeah, it was like, you're a
pointed
fraud.
at this guy.
And why are you allowed to speak at this conference?
Yeah. And so, to his credit, he is the N-Chain CEO, and he is a cryptographer who is claiming the name of Satoshi Nakamoto. Again, it's not really clear if that's who this is. In
Right.
fact, I would say I'm leaning no. That's not who it is.
I mean, anybody can say that. I can say I'm the Pope. I mean, it doesn't make it true.
Yeah, and he hasn't presented any evidence. So that's kind of a big one. Now, the Bitcoin Cash SV folks are pushing the increased block size
Right.
as their tool.
Trying to kick it up. I want to say fourfold.
Yep, that's right.
Kicking it up from 32 to 128.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a quadrupling the block size. I don't know how that would affect the transactions, because I mean, you could load more transactions into a bigger block.
You can.
But how fast is that block going to be able to process?
Well,
what's the block time?
The SV folks are very, very concerned about pleasing the mining community. And so they've reached out to CoinGeek, as well as the owner of Bitcoin.org, who goes by the pseudonym Cobra. And they both come out and say, we like this idea, pushing for, implementation of zero confirmation transactions is just too risky. We're just not there yet. And they also say that, having the focusing in on the needs of the miners, so to speak, with the chain rewards and just increasing the block size, so that's just steady, because basically both groups, whether it's ABC or SB, they're looking and saying, okay, we're trying to address future problems.
Yeah.
We have two different ways of doing it. We can either lower the confirmations needed for the transaction, and then just say, okay, we're going to do zero confirmation, quick, very low cost transactions, even between currencies, or we can kind of continue the old model and just ramp it up, increase the block size and continue kind of going the old route and explore zero confirmation transactions at a later date.
See, but my problem is that they haven't really addressed the root issue of why these transactions tend to be a little bit slower and cost so much sometimes, and that is the issue of scalability.
Mm-hmm.
Now, quadrupling the block size, in my head, if you go from 32 megabytes to 128 megabytes, you are making that block heavier. That would be like carrying a book bag that had 32 pounds in it, and then all of a sudden dumping, quadruple the weight into it, and then having to carry it around for the same amount of time. To me, like that just seems like it could slow things down. I could be wrong.
It will. So by necessity, it will take longer to fill the block.
Right.
That kind of gives mining pools more time to work on each block, potentially like leveling out the rewards. To be honest, I'm not sure, beyond that, really what the argument is. I mean, they would say that the larger, as we mentioned previously, with the larger block size of Bitcoin Cash, the larger the block size, the more smart contracts you could run on it.
Sure.
So it does kind of open up that's kind of their way of saying, okay, we can address the scaling issue by having more on-block transactions, whereas other coins, they're kind of going the opposite direction. They're saying, we want to limit the amount of transactions that are happening on-chain because it's too much on-chain transactions can clog it up.
See, I don't know. I'm not sold on it because scale is sort of the hurdle that everybody needs to overcome right now.
Yeah.
Ethereum is having the same problem, which is sort of why they've begun to address the solution of sharding and plasma to try to cut down on that transaction time.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely going on their route as far as addressing the scalability issue.
Yeah.
But it's a tricky one. I mean, we have seen DApp usage way down. The number of 300 plus users of apps is dwindled way down from its peak. We'll call it the winter of crypto kitties.
Yeah.
And then
crypto kitties.
Yeah. So, with the usage down, it calls into question the valuation as well of Ethereum, of EOS. Are these chains really worth what they say they're worth, or are they not?
Yeah, I mean, there are certain camps out there that will call they call Ethereum a shitcoin. They call Ethereum a scam because they think that it is so overvalued. But to me, I don't agree because Vitalik Buterin, in all his wisdom, despite being as young as he is, he's very wise beyond his years, and he's very much got his eyes set on the big picture, way down the line in the future. Um, and I really can't think of anybody else that's sort of on the same page as he is. But that's sort of how mad geniuses operate. They tend to be very strange and very reclusive. Um, as some of you may have seen, Buterin at a conference, telling the crowd to sell their Neo, and then following that with a very awkward and cringy laugh that just terrified me down to my bones.
Right. And he is somewhat awkward, but that comes with the genius factor, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the smartest people are often the weirdest people. I mean, look at Einstein, Mozart, and things like that.
Yeah. So we had previously talked about, I believe last week, we had a nice price pump with Ripple when they announced their X Rapid platform.
Oh yeah.
And we just wanted to revisit that a little bit. I saw an interview with Sheesh Burla. He was interviewed by CNBC's Ran Nooner. He talks about two different systems that Ripple has going on. Xcurrent, which is a platform used to transfer information between financial institutions with the potential to do some transactions in fiat. And then the other platform is XRapid. XRapid basically uses XRP to transfer the value.
Yeah.
And we've talked before about the plight of the currency traders in Mexico. I mean, they're literally sitting on currency for weeks or months.
Oh, yeah.
And so they said, compared to volatility of that, compared to the volatility of XRP is, way less volatile than fiat.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely can be. There are, I wouldn't consider XRP a stable coin, like, Tether or True USD or anything like that, but it does tend to be a lot less volatile in the long run. I mean, as we've seen, even in the midst of, a bull run, it's still, in the mid 30-cent range, which is impressive, despite, everything that's been going on over the last several months, with the markets being up and down and up and down all over the place. Ripple, there is some good trading to be done on there if you can capitalize on the small swings. But for the most part, hot. Hot is just, it's getting me all hot and bothered.
Yeah, a nice 71 Gwei change over.
Whoa, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, that would be juicy. It's the season of alt, so get ready. All right. So anyway, we talked about it. Now, also, I just want to mention that Ripple's also moving into different bank deals. So they reached out to a British bank called Standard Chartered Bank, and then a payment processor named Mercury FX, which is how they're trying to get into China. Unfortunately,
China, things have not been going very well for the crypto market in China.
Oh yeah, major interference from big players, corporate and government alike.
Yeah, but I think China could be a massive hub for crypto commerce.
Yeah.
And it could be a very, very strong prop of the crypto market, with as much as things are being exchanged over there, and just to ban, especially with WeChat, banning all sorts of blockchain, cryptocurrency media, content, things like that. So basically, censorship at its finest. But it's kind of what you expect when you live in a communist country. Yeah. But what really peeves me about this is the fact that Tencent is the one that's behind all of this. Tencent is actually a very, very large mobile gaming developer based out of China. They're actually the ones that produced the mobile version of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
I see.
So, they're perfectly okay with a game that's based on violence and killing people, but, you give people a means to, trade and exchange goods with, currency that's on the blockchain. That's, oh, no, 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 we can't have that. China number one, we got to cut that out.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's very, very frustrating to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, also you got to think into they have informational censorship in the form of their search engine Baidu, limiting searches related to cryptocurrency, virtual currency, blockchain, and with Beijing, as we've reported in the past, cutting out events or blockchain events. You're not going to have like blockchain project and voice of blockchain in Chicago like you do, there.
Right. It's so sad, but governments evolve all the time.
Yeah.
As we've seen, in the past, year or so, relationships with Cuba have improved. They've been a notoriously communist country for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
We've even been, on the brink of war with China and Russia and everything. But here's hoping that one day the leadership over in China will wake up and realize that this isn't something that's meant to harm the system. This can be something that's used to actually do the system some good. So only time will tell. Who knows how it's going to work? Politics is just it can either be really good or really bad for something, and in the case of China, it's just been absolutely detrimental.
Yeah, there is some good news though from the sort of eastern part of the world, just a little south of China. In Australia, there was actually a major partnership between a bill-paying service called Gobble and Cointree. Now, Cointree partnered with them and allows you, as an Australian, to go on there and any of the bills that you can pay on Gobble, you can use the cryptocurrencies that are on Cointree.
Oh, okay.
And Cointree has a lot of coins. I mean, they've got all the big ones: Bitcoin, Ether, Bitcoin Cash, XRP, Tron, and then they have a huge other list of altcoins that you can use as well. So, in terms of adoption, a very positive step.
Yes, Australia has. They sort of started out as one of those countries that were super hesitant about how the blockchain industry would affect the country.
Yeah.
But slowly over time, new regulations are being passed that are allowing crypto to take another step in, to the point to where eventually we're starting to see services like this where people can pay their bills, their rent, their water, their power, all on the blockchain using cryptocurrency, and that's absolutely fantastic.
There's transparency in the transactions.
Yeah.
There's less fees. There's security in it. So there's definitely a lot of good reasons to implement that.
Yeah.
Another place that we've seen this week, actually some really nice implementation. We looked at, we heard about IOTA in the news as far as moving price wise. IOTA's Tangle can actually be used to create really flexible software. And just one example that I happened to find on YouTube was a guy creating basically a power generation monitoring software. Mm-hmm. So what he did was he used the Tangle to kind of query multiple instances of where he was generating power from, and he simulated a hydroelectric dam, kind of access. Yeah, and if you think about all the projects that are starting up using hydroelectric power to farm mining, suddenly now you're in a situation where, wait a second, this is clean energy, plentiful, renewable. It just keeps coming, as long as the gravity exists and water is flowing on the river.
Yeah.
That's it. And honestly, if you know about hydroelectric stuff, they kind of have that reservoir to kind of like make sure they have enough water to dump in and all that.
Yeah.
So
there's also other technologies, in terms of hydroelectric power generation. There's actually another sort of. It's been around for a little bit, but they're sort of like slowly starting to perfect the technology where it doesn't run or doesn't operate and rely on running water to spin the turbines. They're actually starting to use a system where energy is being generated by the waves and the current inside. So there's some sort of system that'll rise and fall with the waves that will pass along the energy or generated by that. Yeah. So it doesn't, now we're no longer reliant on having to have that running water as long as there's some sort of turbulent turbulence in the water, you could implement that just about anywhere.
Yeah, very, very true. So speaking of that Chicago blockchain project, you said they were
Yeah.
they were coming to town in Chicago.
Last week was the Voice of Blockchain conference where lots of think tanks and just sort of free thinkers within the crypto economy, the technology, financial tech, all just kind of get together and see what is going on in the current climate that is crypto.
Yeah.
And sometimes out of these giant think tanks, brilliant ideas are born. So I'm very, very curious to see if there's any projects or any sort of big moves coming out of Voice of Blockchain. Chicago turning into a very, very integral part of blockchain tech and the cryptocurrency world.
In the
with
US,
with the Chicago Blockchain Project being there, and they definitely have their hands in a little bit of everything when it comes to crypto.
Yeah.
And they managed to grow really, really fast too. That was very impressive.
We're up to over 5% gains.
Beautiful. 70. I should have bought, man. I should have bought it.
Are you still tethered?
Yeah.
You don't want to be tethered in a bull market.
I know.
But the question is, do you FOMO in now?
I should have FOMO'd in at 7,000. That's what I should have done. Like, what was it, an hour ago? Jesus.
Well, earlier today, you could have gotten in at 6,900.
Yeah, I know.
Look at that.
But I also wasn't paying attention because I actually bought a couple different times over the last few days. I bought once at 6,600 and sold at 6,750, I think.
Yeah.
And then I waited for it to dip back down because it was really volatile at that time, and it dipped all the way back down to around 66.25, and I caught it on that upswing at 66.30. And
that was this past week, right?
Yeah. And
probably some of this swing trading here.
And I just said screw it. I'm gonna go long on this, and I basically just set a sell order and forgot about it.
Yeah.
And I had it set at 6,800, and it just blew right past that.
Yep.
And kept on trucking. As we can see.
Possibly right here.
Yeah, it could have been right there. That would make sense.
Got 6,800, so blew right through.
And that would have been yesterday. No.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
yesterday evening. Yeah. All right. Well, we did see some nice gains there, but the good news is in a bull market, you're going to get new opportunities.
Always.
There's always new coins coming out with big news, and now that people are flush with cash, again, we're seeing some big upticks in terms of the amount of people trading. Volume numbers are up, prices are up, which means that all this USDT that's pumping in gets dumped into these alts.
Oh yeah, everybody's wanting to take their profits and dump it into something else.
Look at that monstrous fucking 900 sat gain in 3 hours.
Yeah, that's money.
That's money if you buy it.
Yeah, I didn't. But it is. I made my profits. I'm happy I didn't lose anything. So
yeah.
I don't really have a right to complain about it. I'm happy with where I'm at for the time being. All is well. All is well.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on some of the upcoming projects we have here? Any things standing out for you that's kind of on the horizon?
I know Tron just keeps on, pushing into different apps. I mean, look at that. They just got their hands in so many different things that it's astounding that this kind of growth hasn't happened way before.
Yeah.
But, Justin Sun, he knows what he's doing.
Yep. If you buy Tron if you bought in down here at 320 sats and then sold here at 380, that's 60 sats.
And if you got a bunch of them,
oh, that's
a bunch of profit.
You're gonna have now this is BTC, so one BTC is 270,000.
Right.
So, whatever percentage of BTC, if you go 10% of a BTC, that's 27,000.
Just to make the Binance minimum, you would have to buy over 100,000. Or no, I'm sorry, you'd have to buy over about 500 in order to make the minimum.
Yeah. So if you bought in with 10% of a Bitcoin and you went from 320 to 380, then you gain 60 sats per. That would yield 1.6 million Satoshis if you had half a Bitcoin,
Ooh.
which is 135,000.
Oh, man, that's beautiful.
8 million sats. 8 million sats. At 7,000. $567 in one little trade.
Doesn't get better than that. If only I had been paying attention.
Well, here's the deal. You got to be looking because it's the bull market and there's always alts that are pumping. I mean, if these charts don't entice you as a trader, then
something's wrong with you.
You gotta get your priorities straight.
But pay your bills and feed your children first.
I mean, buy hot first, then
then feed your children on the profits you made from hot.
There you go. Exactly.
It doesn't matter if the family winds up penniless and destitute as long as we have a little bit of hot.
Yeah.
We can't be cold.
Yeah. At 230. Yeah, 6 million hot. And if I sold at 3.
Is that right?
Yeah. It'd be a gain of 4 ether.
That's sexy.
Anyway, so we're just plotting some numbers here, but at the end of the day,
the coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Well, it's good to do this periodically to remind yourself of potential gains, and if you do that, that'll motivate you to be looking for these. I don't think hot's done yet. But you don't want to buy at the peak. You want to let it dip down a little bit before you get ready.
Let it sort of, come back to earth a little bit, find its equilibrium, and then always check the order book first before, trying to jump in behind a big buy wall or sell wall or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Use your head, trade smart, trade responsibly.
Yeah.
And also take your profits where you can.
Yeah.
And also, don't be afraid to throw a few extra sats at it. Don't be afraid to gamble a little bit.
That's right.
But don't put all your eggs in one basket. But at the same time, it's like being in Vegas.
Yeah, I'm very guilty of putting all my eggs in one basket when I'm doing swing trades because it increases your trading power in the moment.
Oh, absolutely.
However, you just gotta be okay with the fact that you could take losses on that whole set.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I put all my eggs in one basket when I was, going back and forth between Tether and Bitcoin. I mean, normally I wouldn't have done that, but since the market was responding so well, I just kind of had a fuck it moment and just kind of ran with it.
Yep.
And ultimately it paid off. So I mean, who was it that had those 4 pointers, or was it Bobby Lee?
Yep.
Yeah. So I just kind of took some of his advice to heart and threw some of my caution to the wind.
Yeah.
And just went big, and hey, I can't complain. So.
Yeah. No, we did well. Trading in and out there, and there's always new opportunities. So if you're looking for those opportunities, we will help highlight them for you and help guide you towards them.
Yeah.
Obviously, do your own research, but
we don't give trading advice. We also We're not going to tell you how to manage your investment or anything like that.
Right.
But we will definitely try to point you in the right direction as best as we can. This market it's very much the wild, wild west. Things can change in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
We could close the computer down and fire it back up in 30 minutes and the entire crypto market's gone to shit. Probably won't happen, but Great Depression, things can happen.
Yeah.
Great crypto depression.
I mean, we just survived a really bad bear market, so I think
it was relentless.
I think we're moving up. Bitcoin needs to get to 7,500 before I'm convinced we're in the full bull. As a major price point. So if you can get to 75, I'm good with that. And then Ether needs to climb its way back up a bit as well.
I'd like to see Ether short term 350.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see that. Long term, I'd like to see it back around 5 to 6. About half of its all time high.
That would be something.
That would be spectacular. And if Bitcoin, can just keep pumping the way it is, and just people keep buying and buying and buying, it's not going to be very long before we see 8K, 9K, 10K.
Yeah.
Despite Mr. Forbes, analyst guy saying, oh, we're not going to see 10K by the end of this year. If the trends continue, I beg to differ. All signs point to yes at this point. 30K will definitely be a stretch, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah. 1,500 Gwei swing here.
Yes. Very nice.
I mean, it's over 3 days, so.
Hey, I don't consider that hodling.
No, that's just smart trading.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, we did have a bit of a prepared, notice here, and we just want to, again, take a moment to kind of remember the folks who passed in Jacksonville.
The 2 lives that were unfortunately taken from us, taken from the Twitch community as well as the gaming community.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like we said earlier, our heart definitely goes out to the family and everybody that was affected at the shooting.
Yeah.
It just takes one scumbag to, do some dumb shit like that and just try to tear a community apart. But as gamers and as Twitch streamers, we're stronger than that. We have one of the strongest communities I've ever had the pleasure of being a part of.
Yeah.
So this is something that we sort of prepared to, sort of pay our respects to the family and the streamers.
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to just take a moment and play this for you.
So yeah, we just wanted to put a nice little in remembrance of the two streamers that were lost.
Yep.
Taylor and Eli. Wherever you are, I know you both like playing Madden. So wherever you are, keep throwing them touchdown passes. Yep. Do what you do, man. You're missed.
Yeah, get those safety blitzes rolling. You know what I'm saying?
Break some knees.
So anyway, we did want to also remind everyone that if you're interested in crypto gear and merch, you can always head over to borkchain.com.
Yes.
And remember that borkchain.com allows you to pick up the coolest crypto merch that I've ever seen. And this is kind of, again, what that looks like. And, different color options, different shirts and stuff. And we will be rocking this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
On a future stream. So
and
get ready.
We're not just rocking it because, we can be rocking it. We're rocking it because these guys are our first ever stream partner.
Mm-hmm.
And we're absolutely thrilled and glad to say that JR has been, the owner of Borkchain Inc., has been nothing but helpful and supportive of our journey to get to where we are now. Yeah. And we definitely look forward to helping each other grow in the space. I did have a chance to speak with JR not too long ago, the other day, matter of fact, and he projects by mid-September, so here in just a couple weeks, on the website here, you will be able to buy these shirts, these stickers, these socks, these phone cases, whatever you want on here, in 130 different coins and tokens.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
That's amazing, and that's adoption right there. So, support your small business, use the crypto functionality, show the powers that be out there that, that's something that consumers want and
Absolutely.
will use,
We got to be we're still in the very early days of the crypto space, so we got to be the driving force behind the crypto commerce, and show people that, this is a viable form of currency and transaction.
Yeah.
We don't have to rely on cash anymore. If I want to spend, a few 100,000 sats on this cool little Fomo shirt right here, I can just do that and buy it and have it shipped directly to my house. And another neat fact about these, a portion of all purchases on any of these items go to animal rescue charities. Because JR is a big Dogecoin fan. As you can see, there's a shirt that's Year of the Doge.
Oh yeah, lots of Doge merchandise there. Yeah, that's one of the accepted currencies as well.
Absolutely. His big thing was, he loves crypto memes. We love crypto, we love memes, and we love crypto memes. So it was just, it was destiny for us to just kind of bump into each other and pursue this partnership. So expect big things. This partnership.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Get in on the FOMO because it's real, and we got the dank memes, for all day. So
always.
But we do appreciate y'all tuning in, whether live or watching the VOD, or either over on our YouTube channel or through our Facebook page. Again, hit us up, real_block talk. On Twitter to see if you have any questions, or hit us up on the Minds page if you're getting used to Minds and you want to explore some cryptocurrency related discussions. We have links to many groups on there.
There are tons of groups. You'll find a group of people that you'll be able to talk to. These are people from all over the world, from totally different cultures, that experience the crypto space in vastly different ways than we might here in the U.S. or somewhere else. So, get out there, talk to some people, make some friends, and tell them all about Block Talk.
That's right. Tell everyone all about the stream. Well, that's going to do it for us here. We do appreciate, again, you tuning in. And once again, I'm Crypto Nikolai.
Crypto J.
And we do wish you a happy and fun day trading. Keep an eye on those alts because they are hot right now.
Alt season, baby.
All right. Well, take care. We'll see you guys next time.
Later, guys.
When I'm burning like fire and you walk all the sides, I'm drawn in desire and you have to think twice. and trying to open. I tell you love you more, and you say it's broken.